Fantastic. Fantastic. All right, we are live. Okay, so here we are, ladies. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our official kickoff to the 15-day mindfulness party. We are going to be doing 15 days of challenges to really get ourselves centered. So, we're going to talk a lot today about why this matters, what difference it's going to make, why you should be paying attention to these things, because it's going to alleviate, I believe, a lot of the pain points that you see when you're working so hard, but things aren't working out the way that you want them to. You're really trying to declutter your home. You're really trying to stay organized personally and in your spaces. You're managing your time. You're planning yourself. You're having a healthy estimation of what you can accomplish during a day. And yet still, it's not working out. Okay, sorry, ladies. We've got a bunch of people who are having trouble getting into our link. Apparently, Meetup is saying that it is invalid. So hang on one second and let me work some magic. So while I am working some magic, I'm going to stop this share real fast. What I would like you to do is number one, grab your journal and your pen if you do not have it. Number two, grab your favorite beverage. And number three, let's see. I want you to, oh, that is not correct. I want you to make sure that you are in a cozy place where you will be uninterrupted and you'll be given the ability to just have minimal distractions. Minimal distractions. Okay. So you might want to turn off your phone. So this way it is not pinging. You might want to turn off notifications on whatever device you're on. So this way the next, 85 minutes is just your time. Okay, hang on one second. Let me answer that text and then we will get started. All right, now it's working because more people are coming in. Hi, Sharon, welcome. Sorry for the little mix up with Meetup. Sometimes Meetup changes our links and that gets pretty frustrating. So I'm gonna send a message to everybody and let them know that it is working. Hi, Suzanne. Thank you for the message.
Thank you for the new link.
Oh, you're welcome. Sometimes Meetup does this. It changes the link on us, and it's very, very, very annoying. like really annoying because it always happens. Like I'll check it. I checked it an hour ago. I was on an hour ago, sending messages. So this way people would know, checked an hour ago, everything was fine. And then it gets time to sign on and boom, it just doesn't work. And the numbers are changed and different. So, um, but we are here. We have corrected it. I am aware of this happening, unfortunately, which is why we are not just relying on Meetup anymore. And we're also looking into and putting things on Eventbrite and our own platform where I can actually have control over things. So this is good. All right, ladies. Well, without further ado, let's get into our mindfulness challenge. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. We'll get into this morning's presentation. As I said, shut off any notifications at this point. You want to have your full focus on what is happening here today. And we want to be able to have our journal handy, a favorite pen handy. We also want to be able um, to have our self be in a comfortable position. So the last thing you want is to try to improve your focus and yet be uncomfortable as you do it. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. So have a beverage handy. I've got coffee, I've got water, I've got my journal, I've got my pen, I've got my backup pens. I am ready. So what I would like you to do to kick off this morning as we get started is I would like you to think about one thing that you really either want or one thing that you want more of in your life. You can share it in the chat if you feel called to, but what is it that you actually want or want more of? It's not being greedy. It's not being selfish. It's just being true to yourself. Because when we can admit what we actually want, then we can go after it. And sometimes we'll say things like, I want a neat and tidy home. Great, great. That doesn't mean you want Pinterest, right? Or you want furniture showroom. It might just mean I want a little bit less to deal with. Well, if that's what a neat and tidy home means to you, then what you want is less to deal with. Well, then we can start to think about why do we want that? Well, because I want more free time to do what I actually enjoy as opposed to taking care of my house all the time. Great. What do you want to enjoy? Then we can start to get deeper and deeper and deeper into these levels that then allow us to start to curate the things we want in our lives and set up the things that are not promoting it to go away. So this way we can promote the things we actually want. But to get there, we need mindfulness. We need mindfulness. It is the root of all of the things we do. Mindfulness is the root to achieving our goals. It is the root to stronger relationships. It is the root, like it is the path to wherever it is that you want to be, which is why organizing yourselves this way, having the mindset component of organization is so important. It is not just about moving things around in your home. It honestly, I have had a lot of people tell me, "Oh, I read so and so's book. You can pick the author, and it worked for a while, and now I'm right back." And that's because you didn't work on the mindset piece. Or I used to be so organized when I had this job and my day was planned out a certain way and it felt great. And now I'm adrift again. Well, because you were following a prescribed formula that worked in that one instance, but you didn't get down to what actually is sustainable and works and is flexible enough for you to use in all situations. And the only way to get to that end is mindfulness. So let's focus on that one thing that you want or want more of, and we're going to hold it with us as we go through today's session. So let's go through what our agenda is. So today's agenda, we're going to do a brief introduction. We're going to talk about the mindfulness cycle. If you've never heard this before, it's very, very simple. And once I introduce it to you, it's going to be, oh, I never thought of it that way because it's not really ever talked about this way. Then we're going to talk about the beauty of intentions, the benefits of this challenge, the meat and potatoes of the challenge. How does the challenge actually work? We are going to craft our own affirmations this morning, and then we will have time for Q&A. So, hi, I'm Camille Prunka with Organize to Elevate. I'm a professional organizer and I'm also a high performance coach. And I help people make the most of their space, their time, and their mindset, the thing we're going to focus on in this challenge. So, this way you can really get to your heart's desires. You can really curate the life that you want to live. I love this quote from Buddha: be where you are. Otherwise, you will miss your life. And we usually hear the first part of this quote, be where you are, right? Or be here now. There's lots of different iterations of this quote. But the otherwise you will miss your life doesn't really get said all the time. And it's so true. The last thing that you want to do is blink and have it be gone and then go, but wait, I didn't get to do the things I wanted to do. And that is the number one regret that people who are transitioning out of this world have, is that it's not anything they did do. It's the thing they didn't do, that they really wanted to do, that they put on the back burner, or that they thought they weren't good enough to accomplish. It's that. That's the one regret. So, this is 15 days to move ourselves out of that place of we could potentially regret what is going on. So think of this as we go through today. Be right here where you are. Otherwise, you will miss your life. So let's talk about the mindfulness cycle. Mindfulness just means that you have full awareness of your habits, your thoughts, and what is going on around you, your entire environment. So, a lot of times we can overlook things or not really be true about the things that are in our presence. So, a lot of times we will look at the thoughts that we have as absolute truths and we won't question them. Meanwhile, they could be thoughts that we've inherited from other people that are not really what we think when we examine them. So it could be a thought that your best friend put in your head. It could be a thought that you have heard your whole entire life that your mother or your father has said since birth. But when you sit here and you think about it, you're like, do I actually believe that? No, I can find proof that that's not the truth, or I don't want it to be the truth. And I can find proof of other things that are out there. So maybe I need to tweak this a little bit for myself, or maybe I need to get rid of the whole thing. But our thoughts are not always just absolute truths. We treat them like they are, but they're not. So it's good to be aware of what we're thinking so we can be aware of if we actually believe and accept what we're thinking. The same thing goes for our habits. I love this story. I use this story all the time. You may have heard me say this, but I had a coach who worked for P&G, and they did market research, and her thing was laundry detergent. She was marketing laundry detergent. They did market research on why women select the brands of laundry detergent that they are using. And now back in the must have been the 90s to early 2000s when this survey was done. The reason that these people selected the laundry detergent they were using was not because of the smell, not because of the efficacy, not because of the feeling of the fabric. It was none of these things that could actually mean something. It's it was the fact that their mother used it. That was why they picked the laundry detergent that they picked. It was because their mother used it. It was familiarity, right? So our habits sometimes are just because they're what we know. And so we repeat them. And if we don't take an awareness to why we are doing what we are doing, then we have no room to grow. We have no room to change. The same thing goes true of our surroundings. If we are so used to operating in an inefficient space or a cluttered space, I have had people tell me, like, oh, yeah, the clutter doesn't affect me. Meanwhile, they can't finish a sentence in the room that they're in while they're talking to me. And they're like, oh yeah, but this doesn't bother me. It absolutely bothers you. You're unable to finish a thought. You are unable to be succinct and clear because you are so surrounded by turmoil. And you think that it's not affecting you, but it very much is. So, an awareness of what is happening around me, both physically, mentally, right? If I'm constantly hanging out with a group of girlfriends who are not happy, guess what I am going to slowly become? Not happy because I'm going to start to see all of the things that I'm not satisfied with and dwell on them because that's the behavior that's being modeled for me all the time. And if I'm not aware of it, I can really start to spiral into this, oh, yeah, well, I don't like this and I don't like that and I don't like the other thing, as opposed to saying, I don't like this, I'm going to change it. Or I don't like this, but I enjoy this part of the situation and I'm going to focus on that. Right? There's a lot of ways to handle what is going on around us. And instead of just going on instinct or on rote of like, oh, well, it's always been this way, so this is the way I'm going to do it. When we are aware, when we are mindful, we give ourselves the opportunity to shift. So the other part of the mindfulness cycle is organization. It is about getting some clutter out of your space. It is about getting clutter out of your time. Time is your most precious resource. Actually, everything else in the world you can kind of create more of or have a reallocation of in a way that allows you to have some flexibility. Time is time. We get 24 hours in a day. It is a construct that is not really flexible. We have a couple of ways that we can deal with it, and that's it. And so we have to be aware of how we are using it. Otherwise, it's gone. You can't recoup it. It's not like I could say, well, I wasted yesterday. So I'm gonna do this. No, it's gone. It's gone. So, being aware of organization in our mindfulness cycle is really important when it comes to time. I've gone over why it's important with mindset and space, but it is an overarching theme of mindfulness. Then there's manifestation. So, manifestation is when you align your thoughts and your feelings. So, this way you create certain actions, and then your actions give you results. So, my thought is, as I am driving my car, that my car is not operating as fantastic as it used to. And I am feeling like it is unreliable, right? So my thought is it's not working great, right? It's making strange noises. Maybe some lights are coming on. This is not how I want to feel when I get in the car in the morning. I want to feel like I can turn the key, the engine starts, and I am safe going from point A to point B. And I'm going to get there without having a mechanical problem in between. So that's going to lead me to the action of one of two things. I'm either going to repair the car or I'm going to get a new one. And then my thoughts and my feelings are going to dictate the choices that come out of that, right? Is the car worth repairing? Do I want to buy a certified used car? Am I comfortable with that? Do I want to spend the money to buy a new car? Do I want to buy the same car I currently have? Right? There's all of these different things that I'm thinking and feeling that are going to lead to the actions that I take and then the result of having a more reliable car, either having the same car that's fixed or having a different vehicle. But my thoughts were where that originated and my feelings about those thoughts. So when you are in this mindfulness cycle, right, where you are aware and organized, you are more easily able to do the manifestation formula because you've got this level of clarity that just makes everything flow more easily. So, in days 1 through 7 of the challenge, we're going to build our awareness and our structure around this mindfulness cycle. And then days 8 through 15, we're going to expand the mindset. We are going to take it wider and wider. We're going to test out this cycle in different little activities. The activities can be done in just a few minutes. They don't take overwhelming effort. You are not going to be doing hours of homework, right? They are very, very simple and intentional, and they are even shorter than the decluttering challenges that we have done in past challenges. They're on the level of the positivity challenge, right? They're quick little things, but they make you think in a new direction during the day. So, my next thing that I want to ask you is this: where do you feel most ready for a shift? And you can put that into the chat if you feel like sharing, but where do you feel like you are so ready to make a change? Could it be your space, your time, your mindset? What is it that you think you are really ready to commit to over these 15 days? And the beauty of this challenge is once it's up, it lives in the O2E Oasis forever, right? It stays there. If you have an account in the O2E Oasis, you can see we have our decluttering challenge, our positivity challenge, the self care, and the buy nothing. And you can then go through these challenges at your own pace, however you so desire. So think about what it is that you want on this cycle around, and then you can always repeat this 15-day at your availability and do it with a new focus. So while you ladies contemplate where you are most ready for a shift, let's go into some journaling, right? And you might want to write all of this down in your journal as well, because that way you'll have a record of what it is that you're really working towards over the next 15 days. So I'm going to set us a timer. Oh, checking out the chat. Hang on. Yes, mindset. Mindset's huge. And I like what you're saying there about you feel like if you get the mindset piece that everything else will start to improve. Yes, it does cascade. Now, for some people, I will say this. Some people like the practical, if I clear some space in my home, then I'm going to feel and see like I can see something. And then the time and the mindset will become a little bit easier. So if that's your strategy, go for it. It's a good strategy. It's not a bad one. Because sometimes people have a problem jumping into mindset. But if you feel like I really want to get mindful about what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling and what my overarching belief system is, then you are starting from a really powerful place. Because once you get that under control, where you really are very strongly rooted in who you are and how you operate through life, then clutter, time management, whatever it is you want to do, you are able to look at it in a very fresh way with this new understanding of yourself. It doesn't matter how it happens. It's kind of like I was sitting down this morning and I was teaching Peter the associate property of addition and multiplication. Now, if you don't know my son, he's 7, and we were literally working out of a sixth grade math textbook this morning, and he got it. He likes all this stuff. He really like gets jazzed about it. So we're going over the associative property of addition and multiplication, which, if you're not a mathematical person, just means that 2 plus 3 plus 4, right? 2, 3, 4 equals 9. And then 4, 3, 2 equals 9. Doesn't matter what order you put the numbers in, they are going to have the same summation, whether you're adding them or multiplying them. If you're multiplying 1 by 2 by 3, they're going to have the same product as 3 by 2 by 1. So it's the same thing with space, time, and mindset. It doesn't matter what order you put them in the equation, they have an associative property among them. You can do space first, then mindset, then time. You can do time first, then space, and then mindset. It doesn't matter. It all works in concert. They are one in the same. You will get a better result in your overall living of life. So there's no wrong answer. You can't do it wrong, which is beautiful. The only way that nothing happens is when you don't improve anything. You don't pick anything to start to make a difference on. That's the only time you will literally get nothing in the end, or you will get very little in the end. So today I encourage you, let's pull out our journals. We're going to take 10 minutes and we are going to journal on what are the biggest distractions that pull my focus away each day, right? Is it your phone? Is it the television? Is it a friend? Is it a health concern? What is constantly getting your attention? Maybe deservedly. When I was going through cancer treatment, that was my biggest distraction. Was I going after my huge goals? No, no, there's like, no. I had to be focused on getting well. And there was nothing wrong with that. But my awareness of it and my realization of this is just for this season of my life was really important. It was really important to be aware of that. So don't beat yourself up, right? There's absolutely nothing wrong with identifying a distraction. Just just be aware of it. Second question, when I lose focus, how does it affect my energy, emotions, and productivity? So if your biggest distraction is pulling your focus, but in a negative way, like social media is my biggest distraction, I spend hours on there in a day. Well, how does your energy, your emotion, and your productivity feel when that happens? It's good to know these things because then when you're aware of it, you're like, oh, yeah, I really don't want to do that. I want to change it. Or maybe it's something that boosts you. So you want to use it in a proactive way and very intentional way. What patterns do I notice when I tend to get most distracted? So when you're really like in this space of, oh, something happens and it's pulling my attention, what do you start to do? Do you spiral? Like my mom calls it the do I nail one foot to the ground and just keep walking in circles? Is that it? Or I glue one foot to the ground and walk in circles? Or is something else happening? In what ways do I avoid paying attention because I feel uncomfortable or stressed? So maybe it's the opposite. Maybe something is triggering you, and then you're doing something in an avoidance way that is taking your attention away, and it's this feeling of uncomfortableness or being stressed out that's the precipitator to your losing focus. So I invite you, I'm going to make a 10-minute timer. I invite you to Start to focus on these questions. You don't have to do them in order and you don't have to answer them in complete sentences. You can write bullet points if you want to, and you can start with the one that calls out to you the most. But let's take a few minutes, dive into this, and then we'll keep going. So I'll see you all in 10 minutes. All right, everyone, welcome back from that round of journaling. And if you felt like 10 minutes wasn't enough time, you'll always be able to go back and expand more on these different themes. But I want to share a couple of things that I was writing as we were going through these questions. And if anyone wants to share either out loud or in the chat what it is that you found, I will just go through and read your item. I won't necessarily read your name, but I will tell you that I have found that one of the things is when I get distracted, it's one of the patterns that I noticed about it is that when I get distracted on certain things, I stay distracted. So, and I get distracted when I'm low energy. So if I'm tired and I'm low energy or I'm not feeling well, then I will stream a show and I will literally watch every single episode of every single season before I'm done. And it's not that I'm obsessive. It's not that. It's just that that gets my attention. I move into this zone of, well, I can finish watching this in another day, so I'll watch it in another day. And or if I start to play a video game, I will play the video game. I will stick with like, oh, well, I'm gonna log on tonight and I'm gonna play instead of I'm gonna do some more work or so I or relax in another way that is more productive towards rest. But I have found that if I do that, I'm not the best at I'm gonna take a break and I'm gonna play for an hour and then log off. Like it's good to know this about yourselves. 4 hours will go by and I will be like, where did the time go? And sometimes that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. But it's the awareness of, okay, I'm aware this happens and I can be honest with myself about it that makes the difference. So I also found that I can leverage I'm very, very creative with what I can do when I don't want to do something. So I will avoid paying attention to something if I'm stressed out by procrastinating on it by finding other things that I will talk myself into that are more important to spend my time on. So I will think that I'm being very focused, but I'm actually being very focused in a place that has nothing to do with anything that's actually going to make forward progress on the things that I want to be doing. So it's good to know these things because then if you catch yourself doing them, you can be like, wait, I'm doing the thing. Do I want to be doing this thing? No. So what can I do that's different? How can I interrupt this? But without that mindful moment of, oh my gosh, I'm doing the thing, you can't change it. So wanting time for yourself and what you want to do. This is an overarching theme that I am finding, especially with women as they are going into their 40s and beyond. It's I want time for myself. There's so many obligations that the things we want to do just keep getting pushed off and off and off. And then the space to do it. Absolutely. I mean, we're talking about wanting certain things in our family now going forward, and space is the first conversation that we're having. Even though we're not having any more children, right? Even though we're not growing in that way, we're growing in other ways, and space is necessary. So I totally understand that. And it's good to be aware of these things. Um, yes. Having to remember when I use distractions to avoid working on something that stresses me out, it never makes me feel better. That is so true, right? We get this temporary oh, okay, your brain thinks, oh, I'm temporarily relieved from the stress. No, because the stress is still there, but we keep doing this behavior even though it's not getting us what we want. That is a huge mindful moment, huge mindful moment, right? So that's when I can say, no, I'm not going to finish streaming I did it the other time. So every time I have a surgery or something, I end up picking a show and like watching all of it. And this my March surgery, there was one show that I was watching, and I still had like 3 seasons to go. And I was like, I've had enough of this. I'm done. And it was better than well, I'm going to find my way to spend 6 hours today just sitting in bed watching some video. No, you know, not necessary. I'm done. And I haven't gone back. Like, and when I had the neck surgery, it wasn't like I'll go back to that show. Nope, I was done. Sometimes it's okay to do that. You tend to get distracted most by things that give you anxiety. Yes, and hesitancy with change. Definitely anything that gives us anxiety will absolutely distract us. And change is a huge thing that gives everyone anxiety. That's why there are people who are actually change managers in corporations because corporations know they have to change to keep with the times. And yet they know that every single person who works in that corporation has an aversion to change. It is a human thing. We all have an aversion to change because we have an aversion to the unknown. We like what is familiar. So there are jobs called change managers. There are actual positions who manage the level of perceived anxiety that goes along with the change. And it manages the level of the perceived unknown that goes along with the change. And really it's like part cheerleader, part magician because and fortune teller because the more that people feel like they can be familiar with the change, then or the more that they feel that they are engaged in the change and understand the change and then have buy-in to it, the easier that it will be. That we have to do the same thing in our life. We have to be the change manager of our lives to be able to get over that anxiety hump of the unknown. And mindfulness is a wonderful key that we can use. Yes, being comfortable with habits. It's like I'm saying, I'm not ready yet for what I really want. It's little things like even letting other people keep conversations going and the internet. Yes, yes. We will I can find distraction in things like a random phone call, girlfriend calling right while I'm like in the zone of doing something or where I'm doing something but I don't want to be doing it. So, oh, I'll take this phone call, and then we're bloop, off in Distractionville. Is it a good thing to have connections with people? Absolutely. Is it a good thing to be able to be social? Yes. But we also have to be aware when it's a convenient distraction in disguise. So, and be honest with ourselves when that happens. Really great insights, everybody. This was really good. Really, really good. Yes,
I would
just
like to add one thing
go for it.
is when, like, number two, how does it make you feel? Not
Mhm.
only does it make you feel discouraged and unmotivated, but it also makes you feel resentful sometimes. Like when I feel like I've binge watched a movie, like you said, or a series, and then it's over, then
Mhm.
I feel resentful that I have let this TV take me over,
Yes.
or
Yes, you're 100% true. Or just anything. Like, it doesn't even have to be television or social media, right? It could be a PTO activity up at school. And I've lost focus on the things that are really, really into. So I'm now resentful as I'm doing this thing that has become more than I wanted to do. It's a whole process that we end up going through. Or we become resentful that our contributions aren't being recognized enough because we feel like it's pulling our focus from something else that's super important to us. So, and people don't even realize that that's how we're feeling. It's all internal for us and it's coming out in different ways where people will look at you and be like, what's your problem? Right. But it's like, it's a real problem to us. So it's good to know and monitor how you're feeling, right? How you're feeling in your body, how you're feeling in your emotions, how you're feeling in your mind, because then you can mitigate these circumstances. So, Sherry, that's excellent. Thank you for bringing that up. Um, Really, really good work, everybody. Amazing. We're going to actually do a couple more prompts on the next slide. We're going to do a couple more minutes of journaling, and then we will move on from this activity. So I want you to ask yourself in the next few minutes, how does being scattered or unfocused affect my relationship with others? So now we've learned a whole bunch about ourselves in the first set of questions. Let's bring that over into our relationships with other people. And then what emotions do I most often feel or experience when I'm overwhelmed? We just touched on them for a minute, but anxiety, guilt, frustration, fear. There's a whole bunch of them that we can go with. And get it down. Get it out of you and onto the piece of paper. This way it becomes something that your brain perceives as more easy to deal with. When things are internal just to us, our brain gets a little skittish about dealing with it. But when it's something that's on the paper, it's something that is then external from us. It becomes a little bit more easy to handle. So I'm going to give us just 5 minutes to do these. Again, doesn't have to be complete sentences. And then we'll come on back and talk about them. one from that 5 minutes of journaling. And I will tell you that I spent that one really thinking about what I've heard from a majority of, especially women that I work with, and that whole when I become overwhelmed, right? When I become overwhelmed by the lack of focus, the distractions, or just the sheer volume of things that are going on in life, it most normally leads to sort of this train of thought that I've seen, or this train of emotions that I have seen happen. The overwhelm happens, there's frustration, maybe even a little anger because of the overwhelm. And then this sense of being resentful and feeling very unappreciated. And then guilt for having all of these feelings. And it then becomes that you're getting down on yourself because you don't want to be constantly frustrated, angry, and resentful and feel unappreciated. So there's shame then that underlies these feelings. And then there's this fear of wasting resources, whatever those may be, time, energy, money, right? And there's shame that then spirals around that too. And the more that you settle into shame, which is a very, very low vibration, it is like the lowest of the low vibration. Shame is not a motivator. It is not something that gets people into a state of, I'm productive, I'm happy, life is good, right? Shame doesn't get you there. Endless studies in mental health have shown us this. And the longer we hang out there, the longer it takes to break the cycle. And that the longer it takes to be kind to ourselves beyond just mindfulness. So that is something that we really want to prevent, right? And if you are in a place where you feel like, oh, I should be able to do this, I should be able to do it better, I don't know why I'm not getting this together, just like forgive yourself now. Cut to the chase, forgive yourself now. Be like, I have to give myself all of the credit in the world because I signed on today. And how many people are doing the same exact thing I'm doing and feeling the same exact thing I'm feeling and haven't taken a step to go in another direction? So it's not about beating yourself up anymore. It is about realizing I am here. I am taking these steps. I am doing the work. I'm making the progress. And I should be praising myself for doing this because this is so important. And I'm realizing that and I'm acting on it, right? Not everyone is doing that. So if you'd like to share something that spoke to you over these two journal questions, I would love to either hear it or I can read it in the chat. But I will tell you, I personally, I was thinking about the first question, the scattered or unfocused, like how does it affect my relationships with others? I become short. I get tense. I'm very frustrated. And then I become embarrassed for being those things. So it's not something that I want to perpetuate, right? I'd rather be very selective with what I do so I can do it well, so I don't feel like I'm distracted and pulled in a million places. And then I can do things being a much more happier and fulfilled me. So that was my little thing that I walked away with. Okay, I'm taking a look. Think my being scattered can affect others both ways. Others who would like more of my attention, um, and away from a goal, they feel more in control. Yes, yes, 100%. And another way is they see the lack of focus as not being true to yourself, and you're letting yourself being depleted, and they don't want that for you. Yes, yes, 100%. Some people will absolutely love the whole fact that they can get control from those interactions. And those people are dealing with their own stuff, right? So you don't have to get into to that and the dynamic there. You just have to shift away from it and go into your own thing. Like there's some people, that's a whole therapy conversation about enmeshment and control and oh, there's another word for it, domination. So that's a whole thing that can be explored in a therapy situation. But you do have the power to step out of that and say, no, I'm exercising my freedoms and my choices and putting myself first. And it's not in a mean way, it's just in a healthy boundary way. So sometimes our mindfulness really leads us to set boundaries in ways that we weren't expecting to. And that can be a good thing too. It can. It can be a really good thing that not only is helpful to ourselves, but helpful to others as well. Boundaries are good. Boundaries allow us to have healthy relationships. They are not walls, right? They're not walls, they are fences. Sherry, you're unmuted. Did you have something you wanted to add?
Well, I feel the same way. And I know this is silly, but the number one question that my family and every one of the people in my family ask, what are you going to do tomorrow? I mean, that sets me off, to the point I have to learn to control myself and my emotions when they ask me that.
Hmm.
And I want to answer it with a question, why are you asking me this? What does it matter what I do? I don't ask them what they're doing tomorrow because that's their business,
Right.
but I guess because my whole attention and my whole everything goes toward my family and what they need me to do for them. And that makes me, there again, like you said, angry and resentful. But they always ask that question. Even my friend asked that. And, and I know she just wants to be conversational, but
Yes.
that question just makes me so, it just sets me off.
So that makes me think two things. Number one, yes, people will totally ask you that to be conversational. My mother does the same thing with me. So, what are you doing tomorrow? Or what's going on for you this week? But it's also because she wants to give me a rundown of everything that's going on in her week. Like she wants to tell me every doctor's appointment, everything. So, I can kind of understand why that's happening. It's yes, she has some interest in what I'm doing, but she also has interest in, letting me know what she's doing. There's also people who ask that question because they obviously want to follow it up with, well, because I want something from you. So there's that. But the question that I wonder is, have you ever told anyone how you feel about that question?
No, sometimes I just try to, answer it back with I don't know what I'm doing. What are you doing?
Mhm.
But there again, I'm getting angry. I'm getting resentful. I feel like they're trying to control me, and I get short and snappy. And as I feel ashamed for being that way or
Right.
feeling so. No, I haven't, and I guess I should, but
Mhm.
I don't want to be rude, so I guess I just don't.
And it's you know what? It could be as simple as Uh, and you can preface it with, I know this may seem silly to you, but to me, I really don't like that question. And it's because I I I like the freedom to just be able to do what I'd like to do when I'd like to do it and not, if there's something that you want, just ask me. Like, do you have time to do this tomorrow? That's a totally different question. But giving it feels like a parole officer, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So, but if you say that and they know where you're coming from, maybe they'll be like, oh, and you can say that might not be your intention. It's just how I am feeling when that question gets asked of me. We remember when we communicate, it's going through filters, right? So I say something, even in these sessions, I say something and I can be saying something with a very specific intention. But then it goes through your filter before you receive it. And your filter is all of the experiences you've ever had in life. So I can be talking about, planning your day tomorrow and having things scheduled. And there are some people who will be like, oh, like I gave a presentation and I showed what I thought was this great thing of at the beginning of the week. So, like on a Sunday today, I will label all of Peter's non-perishable snack food for lunch with his name and the date and whether it's for club or regular lunch. And I will have it all labeled and done before I go into the week. And I will do the same for his juice and I will pop it in the fridge. So the only thing I have to do in the morning is pick these things up, put them in the lunchbox, and make his sandwich and fresh fruit, right? And I thought this was genius. This was like organization gold that should be passed on to other parents. So I go to my son's school and I give this talk and I talk about this practice. And a woman immediately raises her hand and says, I have three children, and what you have just shown me wants makes me want to hide in a closet. And I was like, what? Like it was the most like I would never have thought someone would have that reaction, but there was something about going through what I said, going through her filter that made her want to be like, I'm never doing that and run away. And to this day, I still don't know what it was, right? Because I couldn't give her the like what you do on Zooms. I couldn't excavate with enough questions in the middle of this presentation. So I said to her, well, if it just feels like a lot of work, what I would actually do then is split this up and do child number one on Friday, child number two on Saturday, and child number three on Sunday. And then you Monday through Thursday, you're just packing lunches and you start the cycle again on Friday night. And she seemed a little bit more placated by that. I think it was the whole idea of I have to do this for three children. This is going to take me forever. And the other thing I would have told her if we were in conversation like this would have been time yourself doing it once. So this way you can then tell your brain, oh my goodness, I did this in 15 minutes. It's not a 2 hour task, right?
Mhm.
So you can adjust your perception. But I think that we have to recognize that filter when we talk and we have to have some ownership of too sometimes like my husband will say something it will come through my filter and it will hit me and resonate with me in a very odd way and I will have to look at him and go did you mean to tell me this right I think we had this conversation where I said something about like I was getting ready to like oh I'm gonna go on YouTube and he's like yeah but you're so old I was like, what? Like, what? And then when we had the conversation again, he's like, I don't know how you have the energy to do this. Like, he's like, I want to wind down and you ramp up. And I'm like, that's a totally different conversation than you're old, right? So it's again how it comes through the filter. But if I didn't say something to him after it came through my filter and had a clarification moment with him where I could then be like, okay, I see you. I understand exactly what you're saying. Yes, you are a wind down person. I am a ramp up person. Now I know exactly where you're coming from. Our communication could have potentially been damaged. I could have been really pissed off at him for a couple of weeks. But it was that
Right. And
mindfulness.
that's how I feel, with
Yeah.
my family is like, okay, why do you need to know what I'm doing? What if I'm doing nothing? I mean, they know I'm trying to be organized. They know that I'm always doing something, that I have something in every minute of my day. What if I just want to do nothing? I mean, sometimes I've even thought about telling them I'm going to lay in the bed all day. They would have a heart attack. I mean, they would all be like, oh, so I, that's just a question that I don't like. And it seems like everybody in my life asks that question every day.
I think it's time, Sherry, to start telling everybody you don't like that question.
I
And then
think you're right.
And it's not them, it's you. And it's how you perceive it and how it comes through your filter. And let them know that. But just say, if we can find another way to have a conversation, like if you want my time, or you're just curious in how I'm doing, and if I'm doing anything fun for myself, can you ask me another way? See what happens.
Yeah, you're correct. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I think that's a great thing for all of us. You notice that getting rid of the clutter has helped minimize your filters. Yes, clutter is a huge filter problem because we don't think clearly in clutter. So how can we communicate clearly in clutter? It becomes like grime on the filter, right? And the last thing we want is grime on the filter. right? It's enough to know the filter is there. We don't need it to be a sticky, icky one. So, ladies, this was great. All right, time is flying, and we have to still talk about the challenge, but these realizations are beautiful and wonderful. And I thank you for sharing them and having them and being vulnerable. It's amazing what we can accomplish. So, let's talk about like even now, what we have just done in the past 20 minutes, there are physical benefits that go along with this. We lower our stress, which regulates our breathing, it lowers our blood pressure, it lowers the hormone release, the adrenaline, the cortisol. It really allows us to get into a place of calm, but not just like Zen calm, right? The stereotypical I'm meditating calm, but this actual calm in our body of physical reactions to things that prevent us from constantly we're constantly operating in this like fight, flight, or freeze response. These things, this mindfulness allows us to calm that down and then be clear-headed. It also improves our sleep. So think about it, like, right? Like if you were in a slasher movie and are constantly being chased by the guy that's trying to kill you, are you going to have good quality sleep? No, you are not. And yet that's how our body is reacting. Like we are in a slasher movie and constantly running for our lives. How do you expect to lay down at night and get some good sleep? So we're going to work on mindfulness so we can improve our sleep. The same with our immune system. If we're not sleeping and we're constantly stressed out, it becomes a lot more easier for us to become sick, for us to get little nuisance viruses like colds, or to develop chronic conditions that are mysterious and appear out of nowhere. So it's really important to harness our mindfulness just for our own physical good. And then emotional benefits, right? We don't feel as anxious. We don't feel as reactive. We don't feel like we're getting triggered as much. We're more resilient. Our reaction changes to certain things, and we're more optimistic. We see more light at the end of the tunnel, which also leads us to having just more joy and more emotional balance. We start to feel like there's a lot more possibility in the world and that it's on our side. And that is what we want. And it's these simple little shifts that make all of the difference. So, I want to talk to you real quickly about the 5 R's of mindfulness. We are going to talk about these again in a week when we have our 1 week check in party, which will be same time, same channel. We're going to be here next Sunday at 11 a.m. doing a check in after 7 days of activities. So, the 5 R's of mindfulness: recognize. You need to know what's happening in the present moment. If you don't know what's happening, you can't do anything about it. Then you can respond. Then you can craft the way that you want to deal with something as opposed to just dealing with it off the cuff, right? You have that second to breathe and go, how do I want to manage this? How do I want to react? What do I want that to look like? And then move forward. You also get in this beautiful place of mindfulness to release. We get to get rid of the things that no longer serve us, whether it's clutter in our home or limiting beliefs or habits that are not in our best interest. We get to bid them goodbye. We get to say, no more. You have no control over me. I am now intentionally picking a different route, which is so liberating, right? There's like this immense rush of joy in that moment. So embrace the release. You also get to refocus. We get to redirect our attention towards being intentional and aligned, right? Again, that moment of realizing, oh my goodness, I have choice. It is so powerful. And then the last R is we reinforce. So we are going to reward ourselves when we have positive thoughts, take positive action, use our mindfulness daily practice. This is where we get to really lean into the happiness that happens at the end. So So we'll go into those more next week too. So days 1 through 5, what are we working on? And these are going to be little micro shifts, right? I'm not going to be telling you all day long, I want you to do this. No, it's going to be, I want you to do this for 10 seconds. And then when you do it, you're going to be like, oh, I think I'm going to do it again. And I think I'm going to do it again. And I think I'm going to do it again. And that's when it builds. So days 1 through 5, we're working on awareness, focus, boundaries, thought tracking, mindful actions, and generosity. That's what we're going to be leaning into the first 5 days. Days 6 through 10, we're getting into some clearing practices and reflection practices. So we're going to be decluttering. Big surprise. We're going to be taking moments to pause. We'll reframe. We're actually going to take time to smile, right? Because smiling in and of itself is a stress relief. We're also going to take time to shift our focus to abundance. We're going to notice it. We're going to see it in our lives is because it's right there. And then we will tap into more of it. Days 11 through 15, we're going to expand these practices. We're going to use certain techniques to make our mindfulness grow. Gratitude, intentional breaks, mindful listening, slowing down, and celebrating wins. So some of this are things that we do. We're going to just now make it so intentional that we keep amplifying our ability to do these things because what we pay attention to grows. And then we're going to be participating with reflection questions on every single day. So the reflection questions, you don't have to print anything out. You don't have to specifically track anything. All of the tracking is going to take place in our website. So in members.organize2elevate.com, in the Oasis, there's going to be a module that is just for the mindfulness challenge. And every time you click on a lesson, day 1, day 2, day 3, it's going to come with these 5 questions. These questions, when you answer them, are for you. They are not public. Your answers are not posted where everyone can see them. They are private, right? I will be able to see them. That way I can help create some content that will get to the sticky points and the things that everyone is working on. But it's not going to be like, well, this was submitted by so-and-so. It's not going to happen. It will not be attributed to you. But then below that, there are comments, and those are public. So if you want to talk about publicly some of the things that are going on for you as you're going through this challenge, you loved it, you hated it, it was hard, this was so meaningful to you, you can put all of those things in the public comments on the lessons. But the reflection questions are for you and you alone. So you can fill them out on the website and get experience points for them, or you can put them in your journal and you can do them privately. But either way, they are private. They are not publicly blasted onto the website. So I just want to make sure that everyone is comfortable with that because this is a new way that we're using the technology that we have and the functionality that we have. And every time we do that, it's change. People aren't comfortable with change, but I think this is really good change. I think this is something that everyone's going to like because now you don't have to be surrounded by a lot of stuff to be able to do your challenges. You can just do them on the website and you're not on social media. It's our site and then we are done. So I love that about that. So I encourage you to write this in your journal or just adopt this over the next few days. I commit to showing up for myself for the next 15 days. And you can create a mantra or an affirmation off of this commitment. And we don't have time to do it as a group, but I encourage you to do it on your own. I commit to showing up for myself for the next 15 days. And it's not about showing up perfectly. It's just about showing up. So, and this challenge, because it is short, usually our challenges are 6 days and then we get a catch-up day where you can go back and review. Because this is only 15 days, we are doing 15 specific different tasks. So there's no catch-up day. If you miss a day, I'm telling you, this is something where you can do 2 days at once. It's okay. It's not the end of the world, but don't be like, oh, well, I missed a day and that's it. I can't go back. You can always pick back up. And like I said, you can do the 15 days and then you can repeat it next month or you can repeat it next year. It's going to live there forever. Let's do a quick tapping exercise to get us in line before we jump into our first day of mindfulness, because mindfulness can be tough. It can be the kind of thing where you sit down and you go, oh man, I just reacted to something and I don't even know why I reacted that way, right? It was instinct or it was habit. And we can beat ourselves up for it. And I don't want us to do that. So let's tap. If you haven't done EFT or tapping, there's no wrong way to do it. You're going to follow along. We're going to tap on the karate chop part of our hand where you would do a karate chop. We're going to tap here on the side of our palm. We're going to do it on the other side. Then we tap right by our eyebrows and the where it meets our nose on the outside of our eye sockets. And these are gentle taps. And underneath, right on your cheekbone. Then you can tap on your lip. I like to tap this way. I have also seen people tap this way on their lip, whichever one is more comfortable for you. Into the divot of our chin under our lip, we're going to tap there. And then on our collarbones, you can tap on your collarbones. Usually, people also tap underneath their arms. I have just had surgery on both sides. So we're going to skip tapping under our arms and then you tap on the top of your head. So while we're tapping on the collarbone, if you are a person who is used to EFT and you want to tap under your arms, you can put that in there too. But again, it's not like, am I missing the spot? No. If you're tapping here or here or here, it doesn't matter. You are still tapping in the right zone. Okay. As long as you're not like tapping here versus tapping here, that would be like, okay, you're a little off base. But anywhere that's like right on the collarbone or, here to here on the hand it's not going to make a huge difference. So you can say these with me or just think about them as I say them, and we will just tap on our body. Even though I lose focus and get distracted, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I feel overwhelmed and pulled in too many directions, I love myself completely and I accept myself fully. I keep losing focus. There are so many distractions. I feel pulled in too many directions. It feels overwhelming. I get caught up in everything at once. My mind jumps around and won't settle. I feel scattered and disconnected. I can't seem to stay present. Take a deep breath in. Let it out. And we'll do a second round. Even though I sometimes avoid paying attention because it feels easier, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. I'm open to gently bringing myself back to awareness while I love myself completely and accept myself fully. I choose to bring my awareness back. I can take one mindful breath right now. I allow my mind to clear and refocus. I give myself permission to slow down. I choose presence over overwhelm. I'm capable of focus and clarity. I can be mindful in each small moment. Take a big deep breath in. Place your hands on your heart and repeat after me. I release the overwhelm, the distractions, and the lack of focus. I welcome clarity, calm, and presence into all areas of my life. I am safe and well. I release the overwhelm, the distractions, and the lack of focus. I welcome clarity, calm, and presence into all areas of my life. I am safe and well. I release the overwhelm, the distractions, and the lack of focus. I welcome clarity, calm, and presence into all areas of my life. I am safe and well. Take a deep breath in and let it out. And relax. And hopefully that has made you feel like the change is possible. If that's the only thing you got out of that exercise, that the change is possible, like I could feel it, I could feel like the change is possible in my body, then that is a wild success. So this is me and my family. And what I want you to leave with today is awareness is the first step to a rich life full of your truest desires. Honestly, when I started cultivating the life that I have now, I had to become aware that I even wanted it before I could go out and get it. Mindfulness was my first step, but it was my first step and I did it through cleaning my house and cleaning out my clutter and getting things under control. And then, things in the past couple of years have not been optimal. And what am I doing? I'm doing the process again. Awareness is the first step. And I am really getting in touch with what I want next. And if you're following me, you'll see where this goes, right? Because I'm very transparent with everything I'm going for. But if you don't have awareness of it, you can never get started. And that's where this challenge meets us, is right at ground zero. It's so important. So, ladies, I want you to know this is the calendar of events that I put on with my team every single week. Some of the pink events are on a more flexible, rotating schedule, but the purple events happen every single week unless there's a holiday or some sort of emergency that causes a cancellation. But we are here. We are meeting, we are working together in community towards all of this. That is what the Organized to Elevate Savvy Squad is all about. The option to join Savvy Squad is available to you. It is on the Organized to Elevate membership site. I will say that the price is going up. It is right now at $44 a month. Everybody who is registered stays at $44 for life. They get access to every recording of everything that I do, and they get access to every single live event that we hold 7 days a week. So it's a huge, huge value if you are on this journey. And you get book club for free too. Book club is inclusive in the Organized to Elevate Savvy Squad membership. So if this is something that you are curious to try out, you can go month to month. There's no commitments, or you can pay a year in advance and save some money on the monthly membership price, but it is not going to be $44 for more than a few more days. It is going to go up, and it is going to go up into the $77 a month price range. So if you want to lock yourself in at 44 and be there for the life of your membership, this is the time to do it, because October 1, it's going up. And I love our members. I love the community we have. If you are really working on space, time, and mindset, there's, to me, nothing like it that's on the market, which is why I created it. You can find coaches for one or the other, but not a place where you can really look at it holistically. And if you love to read self-help books, the Organize to Elevate book club is meeting on September 30th to discuss the end portion of Organizing for the Rest of Us. We are not a traditional book club. We take our books in pieces. We read them in sections. So this way we can really dive into rich discussion about the beginning and the middle and the end, because self-help books are not like fiction where you have to read the whole thing. It gives a lot of information in definite chunks across the span of the book. And so to be able to really talk in depth about each of those chunks, we divide the book up. So we're doing the end of the Organizing for the Rest of Us book. And then at this meeting on the 30th, we will talk about our next selection and how we're going to divide that selection up. And the book club is only $7 a month to come and join and get some real practical advice on if what you're reading is going to serve you and how to enact it, and then a community to help you as you go through that. These are all of the Savvy Squad sessions that we have coming up in October. We've got quite a lineup. Again, this is all included in your Savvy Squad membership, or it's available a la carte. But we're going to talk about in week one, our Savvy Spaces, decluttering without overwhelm, how to get some strategies to help you quickly. Then in week two, which is Savvy Schedules, we're going to talk about achieving time affluence. We've all heard about being affluent, but how do you be affluent with your time? Week three, Savvy Mindset, we're talking about mindset magic, overcoming imposter syndrome. We've kind of like, dabbled in imposter syndrome a little bit today, but we're going to attack it head on in a couple of weeks. And then week four, Savvy Abundance, we're going to talk about having spectacular holidays on a reasonable budget. So, the whole decorating and the whole going out and the whole giving wonderful gifts, you can do all of these things and you can do it without causing yourself so much debt that all you're doing is paying credit card bills in 2026. So we're going to talk about how do we make that happen. These are all the ways we can connect on social media. So Facebook, Instagram, X, and LinkedIn. I'm at Organize to Elevate everywhere except for X, where I'm at Organize Elevate. And in October, we're going to become much more robust on social media. So if you decide to hang out with us there, you'll see a lot that is going on. We're going to be posting photos of our jobs and what we're doing out in the community. And then we're also going to be talking about things that we are doing in the memberships and on the blog. And these are all the ways to get in touch with me. So my phone number, I'm on Voxer. That's my email address. That is the QR code to get you to Organize to Elevate the Oasis, where the challenges will be. So this is all the information that you need. Aw, thank you. He's cute. He's getting so big though. That picture was 2 years ago. So, we didn't do did we do a family photo this Christmas? If we did, it was very like low key. We really didn't do anything huge. So I think we're going to have an updated family portrait taken in the next couple of weeks, and then I'll share that also. Before we go, very, very quickly, I just want to show you the membership site and what the challenge is going to look like. So this is in our preview mode of the website. So when you sign into your account, it will look just the slightest bit different, but I want you to be able to see this before we go on our separate ways this morning. It'll take 2 more minutes. So this is the Oasis when you sign in and you click on the Oasis. And if you scroll down, you will see here on the left-hand side, there's the Mindfulness Challenge. If you click on View this module, it's open now. You will see that there's a link to join the kickoff party on Sunday. So if you click there, this is join now would bring you straight into the Zoom. This will be available for next week. So if you're not registered in Meetup, it's fine. You will see another module after day 7 that says join the check-in party on October, I think it's October 6th. So whatever the date is, you will see join the check-in party, and there will be a join now link that is available to you. And then here is the day 1 practice. Day 1 practice is single tasking. We're going to take something, anything that you do today, and you're going to just do it. So washing dishes, writing an email, folding laundry, you're only going to focus on the one thing. You're not going to listen to a podcast. You're not going to be talking on the phone to a friend unless it is the only thing that you're doing. One thing at a time, no multitasking. So it gives you the reason why we're going to do this, and then a mindfulness tip for the day. And then you'll see there are these questions, right? What tasks did I choose to focus on today? This is just for you. These are the private questions. How did it feel to give it my full attention? So you can answer them on here if that feels comfortable for you, or you can do it in your journal. So there's 5 questions for every single day. And then at the bottom, there's comments. This is what would be posted publicly. So if you want to copy and paste any of your answers and share them with the group, you are more than welcome to do that. But I just want everyone to understand what's private, what's public, and what each daily challenge will look like. This is what the challenge will look like every single day in the membership site. So if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to stay on for another minute and let you know, answer your questions. Oh, I'm so glad you're looking forward to it. Yeah, this I tend to be a multitasker too. So I will be doing one thing today where I'm not multitasking. So yes. Okay. All right, everyone. I'm going to stop our live stream real fast and let you all. It's not letting me stop the live stream. Let me see if I stop the share, if it lets me stop the live stream. So thank you to everyone on YouTube for joining us today. I hope that you had a fabulous time and come to the membership site